Hi, I'm Jeanne Schumacher, founder of Simply Plant Based, where I have programs to help you to change your health destiny, including the Plant Based Academy, where I provide help, support, guidance, and resources to switch to a plant-based lifestyle and get your health back. Today, I have the privilege of connecting with SiaCorrina from 6D Living. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me here today.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me this beautiful and wonderful opportunity to spend time with you. I enjoyed meeting you last year at the NHA conference, and it truly is an honor to be included and invited here today. Thank you.
All right. Well, what made you go plant-based? Share your story.
Yeah, my father died, and I grieved heavily, and I didn't think I would make it through the grief. And I knew I had to because my father loved life. And he would want me to live and be joyful again. So I started to try to find some light in that darkness. And as we were also kind of going through COVID, that was coming, and or it was coming. That was later, but it was difficult to find any kind of light for me.
Mhm.
So in our world, when we are searching for things, we go to technology, and that is what I did. I went to TED Talks and other platforms, and I found Dr. Greger and Dr. Campbell, and all of a sudden I could see a little light in the distance. There was hope. You see, my father died of prostate cancer that had metastasized to his bones, and it was a gruesome death. And I thought to myself, I can never feel that pain. I never want to feel that pain. And at that point, I was vegan, but everyone, said, well, that's just the way life goes. Everybody died. Most people die of cancer. And I thought, I don't want to. And then it occurred to me, if everyone's going to die of cancer and I don't want to, well, then why am I even living now? What's the point? That's how far gone I was. And then Dr. Greger turned on a light at that, and I could just see it in the distance. And there was hope. And then Dr. Campbell. And then I found Dr. Clapper and Dr. Ornish. And all of a sudden, my world started filling with light and hope and possibilities of health. That it wasn't a given that as we get older, we get sicker, that it didn't have to be. And then I thought, that's it. That's the only way I'm going to get up off this floor crying all day, sitting in the corner of my house. And I got up and I started learning, and I went to the T. Colin Campbell Center and did that program. And then I went further to E. Cornell and did their 6-month nutrition and healthy living program. And then I got certified for microbiome health, intermittent fasting, and vegan nutrition. And then I studied biomedicine at the College of Naturopathic Medicine. And so I'm now just up, involved, surrounded, enveloped, hugged by the science, the truth, the reality of what it is to be healthy, happy, balanced, and joyful. And now I know I honor my father because he also found food as medicine. He
Oh,
just didn't find right foods.
right.
He read the wrong book. And that's okay. He instilled that in me. He planted that seed, whether he knew it or not, and it has blossomed. And here I am after his death, and alive, healthy, happy, full of joy and balance. Quite happy.
That's the best. Oh gosh. Well, did you
So
have
that's how.
did did you have any health issues that you were dealing with?
Absolutely. I was, before I went vegan, I was morbidly obese. I had high cholesterol, I had diabetes, I couldn't walk. My gastrointestinal system was so far gone and so bad that in the mornings, my husband would find me leaning against the back of the couch, literally pushing on my intestines, hoping for any bit of movement. I would take a bottle of flax oil and just chug it, trying to lubricate, I didn't know better, trying to lubricate my gastrointestinal system, not knowing I was doing myself more harm. And I would barely be able to go to the bathroom. I was a wreck. I was a wreck. I had eczema. I had spots all over my skin, brown spots that looked really nasty to me. And yeah, I don't have any of that now. I don't have any of that.
It's a
I just got
miracle.
my, it is. I just got all my tests. I saw my doctor this morning and he said, I've never seen tests like this. You have the blood work and the scans of a teenager. So I think it works. I think
Right?
it works.
Right?
Yeah.
When you put the right
Yeah.
fuel in, oh gosh, what a difference.
Yeah, the engine roars, huh? Oh.
Well, when you say morbidly obese, what are we talking here?
Yeah, I've lost over 100 pounds, about 52 kilos in total. I've managed to maintain that through the practice of intermittent fasting and whole food plant-based SOS free eating. Yeah.
When we met at the conference, I mean, very thin. You looked
Mm,
amazing. That's awesome that you can do that. But I think that's one of the things I love about this lifestyle is that you can lose the weight and keep it off, you know?
You you can keep it off as long as you stay with the idea and the science and the truth, and you don't start thinking a little bit won't hurt.
Right?
A little bit will hurt. It will hurt. It will make a difference in your bowel movements immediately. It will make a difference in your inflammation immediately. And we're talking about one meal. One meal can make a difference in all of that immediately. So that's nonsense that a little bit won't hurt.
It does.
It's pure nonsense.
No,
And it's that leeway
mhm.
that gives people that freedom, give them an inch, take a mile kind of thing. And so you say, oh, you can have, a quarter a cup of nuts. Well, it's easy to grab 4 handfuls of nuts. Well, that's not a quarter cup. That's a cup. You've gone way over your fat limit there. So it's if you stay with the truth and you're truthful with yourself about what you're eating, then the weight won't come back and it will just drop off. So it's an important thing to note, I believe.
Absolutely. Well, how long did it take you to convert? Was it like gradual or it's like today's the day, done, boom?
Yeah, pretty much. But I faltered. I have stumbled in my journey, of course, as we all do. And Dr. Greger assures us that it's never too late to start again. So if you stumble and fall today, don't worry. You get another meal to try again. So try again and just keep trying because it's your own life at stake. Is it not worth it to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, forgive yourself, allow yourself grace, and say, I've got this.
Right.
I've got this. And get it again. Get it back.
No, it's true. 100%. 100%. And
Yeah.
I've seen people
So I
spiral
just,
out of control, you know?
yeah, but they feel guilty. And there's all this association, these heavy negative feelings. They shouldn't be, let them go. You know what I mean? So you stumbled. So what? You're human. We all stumble. It's okay. You get another chance. You don't have to stumble and say, well, I'll just stay down. Oh, I give up. That's what I did after my father's death. That's not living. Don't
No,
give up. Never give up. Never, 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 never give up, says Winston Churchill. 5 nevers. Never, 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 never give up.
it's true.
There's always another meal. Yeah. You're going to eat again. Do it right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Well, how did you handle cravings? Because I know, like, ooh, especially like cheese. Oh, that was a tough one to give up. But how did you handle?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I live in Greece and my mother is from Greece. So I'm like a Habsy. I'm half American, half Greek. So I'm like a Habsy. But I grew up on feta. I mean, I remember my grandparents, or my grandfather, they would have arguments. My mother would tell me about, you brought the wrong feta to my house, get out. Very specific about what kind of feta is allowed. Yeah, everybody's got their own feta. Mine was feta kefalonias, which is feta from the island of Kefalonia. I think you guys call it Corfu. So from Kefalonia, that feta for me was the bomb. And I would eat anything that had feta kefalonias in it. If it had feta from another region, I knew that I wouldn't eat it. The cravings that you ask about, was I addicted? Oh, you betcha. You betcha. What I didn't do was try to substitute. I didn't try to find replacements. I said, this is an addiction, as we learned in The Cheese Trap by Dr. Barnard. This is an addiction, and it's purposely made to be an addiction with loads of salt, high in fat, and when you read The Cheese Trap, it's got some pretty disgusting stuff on it. So cheese is pretty gross in my opinion now. I smell it, I gag. But back to your question about cravings, I just pushed on through like any good addict does, one day at a time. It's an addiction. Don't fool yourselves. Dairy is an addiction. Cheese is an addiction. Salt is an addiction. Sugar is an addiction. And so, like any other addict in the world, you just push through. Call your sponsor, call your friend, and get some support. That's all it takes. You don't need to substitute it. You don't need to replace it. You don't need to make things up that taste like it. You don't need to buy vegan products packed with coconut oil and saturated fat and salt. Why? It's all like reductionism at its best. It's like it's not even food anymore. Like real cheese is more food like than vegan cheese, in my opinion, because vegan cheese is science built. And that to me, food isn't built by science, food's built by nature. So if it doesn't come from nature, I don't need it. I don't want it. And I just push on through and call my sponsor.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, part of the journey is clearly about food. So, how did you learn to cook this way?
Well, like I said, I did the studying with at with T. Colin Campbell at E. Cornell and then followed up on that. And then I just followed the guidelines. You need beans, you need grains, you need cruciferous, you need greens, you need omega-3s, you need berries, you need fruits, starch, vegetables. Okay, made a list. And then I just bought those foods. And I've always been quite fond of being in the kitchen, let's say. And I've always been one who likes to create. So I just moved my creativity from my past creative endeavors to my kitchen. And I just made it up as I went along and tried my best. Some of it was good, some of it not so good, but I learned and I kept making the good stuff. And
Right.
then I just kept eating. And the better I felt, the more creative I became.
Oh, for sure. It
That's
100%.
it.
And
Yeah.
when you get your health back, oh my God, it's
It's
so
empowering.
awesome.
It is. It's so empowering. It's like I can do this for myself, for the people I love, and if they're interested, which my husband was. I don't know that he was interested in eating plants, but he was interested in me healing from my grief. So, and he was invested in that, and he loves me. So he was like, whatever you need, that's what we'll do. And now he is, that's got oil, not touching it. When we got married, he said a meal isn't a meal without meat. And now he won't even think about it. And it's not because of me. He just took it on to help me. Yeah. And now he just feels so much better that he's like, no, there's no other way. There's no other way.
All I can think of is my big fat Greek wedding, when they found
You
out
don't need meat,
he's
I'll make lamb.
I'll make lamb.
Yeah.
What?
It's because when you say meat in Greek, Kreas, it means beef, chicken, and pork. Lamb has a different word, aranaki. So arni. So it's a totally different thing. So it made culturally tough to. I went to see that movie here in Greece at a Greek theater. The whole theater erupted on so many parts, but especially that line, I'll make lamb. And they're like, oh, yeah, of course. she really nailed it. She really nailed it.
She did. That was such a classic. Oh my God. And it
Oh,
could
it's
be
fantastic.
any, you know, other type of, it could be Hispanics. It could be, I mean, anybody's got the same with the same types of family like that, those
Yeah,
dynamics, those interactions. She could be
absolutely.
anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Well,
that was
oh,
fantastic.
but she really nailed it. That the whole
You
movie,
did.
with the Greek Parthenon and the garage door with the flag, Greek
Yeah,
flag. I mean, just
yeah, those are the Greek Americans. That's for
the
sure.
detail was phenomenal. And then connecting with his family. Oh my God,
Yeah,
that was hilarious. That was
yeah.
hilarious. Just
My husband was worried he was going to have to be baptized. He was like, "Are you Orthodox?" I was like, "No, don't worry, I'm not." He's like, "Oh, phew." Because when we got married, if we were going to get married in the Orthodox Church, he would have to be baptized as an adult. That entails some very personal oil rubbing on the body, both by the priest and by your godfather or godmother. Every hole must be filled with oil. Every hole.
okay. I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what
Pull that off.
changes? Well, what changes have you seen in your life since you
In
went?
my life,
Yeah, since you started this.
oh, I am stronger. I am more dynamic. I have more energy.
Yeah,
I
right?
have more cognitive focus than ever before in my life. Um, and I feel like I'm well. I feel like I'm joyful. I feel balanced. Yeah. I never felt that before in my life, ever.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. And happy. Happy. I'm just so happy,
Very.
grateful for everything, just
I would say when your hormones are working properly, when your endocrine system is functioning properly, you will be happy. You will have more serotonin. Your endorphins will be in balance. Your all of that will work. You will have lower cortisol levels, which does damage. So of course you're happier. Why? Because your microbiome is happy. And if your critters are happy, you're going to be happy, right? Yeah.
that's such a new
Okay.
area of study is the gut microbiome. And they have tied it into like depression and all these other issues that people have. And yeah, it's the food. It's the food. Hello, it's the food.
It's the food. Yeah, it's also tied to Alzheimer's and it's tied to Parkinson's. Dr. Bolshevich just shared a study about its tie to Parkinson's. So this is no joke, the microbiome. It is our second brain. Remember well, I mean, but for everyone, remember that your gastrointestinal, your microbiome, is connected to your brain via the vagus nerve. So it is your second brain in your gut. So it is so important to balance that second brain. And by doing that, you'll balance the first brain as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, how about your family? Have they followed your lead?
No,
No.
just
Yeah.
my husband. So my husband didn't follow my lead. He held me up. He supported me. So when he was supporting me, he wasn't doing it because he wanted to do it. He wanted to do it for me. But over time in supporting me, he felt so much better that he's adopted this lifestyle of his own choosing. But the rest of my family, no, they have not.
It's very similar to mine. I'm the only one in my family on both sides. And I'm the only
Yeah,
one. Like I have four siblings. I'm the only one who's not on a sleep pat machine and on a plethora of medications, and I'm the only one who's lost the weight. Everybody in my family is quite obese. So
I'm so sorry. So
yeah,
sorry to hear that.
I
Yeah,
know. But and when I see this, and I know how easy, well, not easy, but that when you put the right fuel in, it's amazing how you can heal your body. It's just incredible. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
well,
But
what was
everybody comes their own way, at their own time.
right?
And you just let it be and say, okay, that's who you are, and I love you. And great, let's just spend time together and not talk about that. But just allow me my space. And they do, which is nice.
Well, and we've gotten it to down because it's been a while since, you know, since I started this journey. And so like, they're used to like if we get together in gatherings and stuff like that, like I'll bring chocolate peanut butter pie and they know that. They know that that tastes delicious. I mean, it's not something that happens every day in my house for sure because it's very high caloric density, but I will make that and bring that to family gatherings and they go, "Oh, yeah, you can bring that. That's okay." You know.
And that's okay. I like that. That's yummy.
Yeah, right, right. Well, what was the most difficult obstacle that you faced in starting this lifestyle?
None except my addictions
Mm, okay.
was the only obstacle, because I can find dry beans and grains and everything here in Greece very easily. We have an abundance of produce all year long, and there were no obstacles. But if you look at the timeline, so 2018, I start learning about this and I switch over. And then a year passes as I'm finishing eCornell because it's a 6-month course, right? And then I decide read The Pleasure Trap. So I go to True North in 2019 in October. I come back and COVID hits. So what are the obstacles? I'm locked down in my house. And our lockdowns were pretty serious. We had to text for permission to leave. You would have to text with a number and you would send it to the government agency and they would see how many people are out and about in your area and you would be approved or not approved. And then you could only go like 2 or 3 kilometers away from your house and they would be tracking GPS. And there were fines if you went further or if you went out without permission. So our lockdowns were serious and they lasted a long time. So it was just me and my husband in the house. What's the obstacle? Buy plants, eat plants. Okay. So I guess I was lucky. It's a weird thing to say about COVID, but and lockdowns, but in a way, it allowed me to solidify how to live this way. And it allowed me time to feel the impact of living this way before trying to go into society and try to figure how do I do this and where do I go and how can I find these things. So by the time we were freed from these lockdowns, in my opinion, we were freed and I no longer had the cravings, they had passed. So I was able to go out in society and not be lured in and not have to, "Ooh, where can I find this?" Where I don't need to find it. I can just rely on what I'm making. And if I can't find it, as Dr. Goldhammer tells us, hunger's not an emergency and you can always fast. You can always fast. It won't do you any harm to fast for 24 hours if you're on a plane. Don't worry if the plane food didn't make your vegan menu. Let it go. Don't worry if you didn't pack your granola or your flax or your cookies. Let it go. Fast. It'll do you good.
It's true.
It
Fasting is
is.
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I
Well,
agree.
what walk us through a day of food. What's that like for you?
Okay. For breakfast, I typically have leafy greens, bitter greens, so I can prepare my stomach to release the proper digestive enzymes for the bigger molecules of protein and glucose that are going to come down the pathway. So I start off with bitter greens. I'll put on some berries, something like that, but I'll top it with apple cider vinegar to just kind of like balance it all. Plus, apple cider is just great for the blood glucose, so it kind of regulates it. So I try to get that for breakfast. And then midday is my big meal, where I'll have something I've batch cooked that has a plethora of ingredients from all kinds of vegetables and beans. And I add fruit to my batch cooking, to my savory dishes. I'll add berries, like my soy lentil curry has cranberries in it. So it's a nice combination. So I'm getting all 5 flavors in every meal. So I'm satisfied. I'm nutrient dense, calorie low. So I'm also satisfied and feel full. And then in the evening, I try to stay raw as much as possible. Another salad or fruit salad. So an abundance of fruit over a bed of leafy greens. Again, I'll add some lemon juice or apple cider vinegar to that. And because I like Dr. Clapper's idea of like 70% raw is, kind of the optimal way. I'm absolutely not 70% raw, but I would say I'm between 50 and 60. And I'm comfortable with that level. And my digestive system is comfortable with that level. You have to remember it was quite bad, so I'm leery of messing it up again. So I just kind of keep the balance even within my meals. Most importantly, though, I drink a lot of water. And I think that's one thing that something get sometimes gets lost in translation. In other words, when you're making this transition and you're eating this way, we forget an abundance of fiber requires an abundance of water. Otherwise, you're going to get bloated, you're going to have pains, all of that. So we have to remember to mention water all the time and make sure we're getting enough water. So that's the big one for me, is that I really focus on the food. Comes pretty easily from, like, batch cooking and stuff. You grab a dish and heat it up. It's all ready. And it's easy then. I don't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. So I'm free to do other things in my life. Yeah.
Right? Well, what are
Yeah.
some of your favorite dishes?
Yeah. I make a mean bean chili, I'll tell you that. It's got about 35 plants in it, from aramay seaweed to three kinds of mushrooms that are dehydrated and ground up. So that's the whole plant. Hemp seeds. So I get my omega-3s in there, and I make all of that into the sauce, which I call like a roux or a base. And then I have all my alliums. I'll have different kinds. So I've got garlic, red onion, white onion, and I'm water sauteing that with fresh turmeric root. And then I'll add in the cooked beans, or first the vegetables, I'm sorry. The vegetables are going to go in it. So I'm making sure I'm getting sweet potato or carrot in every dish, something like that. So I'm getting my beta carotene. And I'll put the vegetables in. I've got cruciferous in there. So the sauce will have some mustard in it to reactivate the sulforaphane precursor. And then when it's all done, I take my beans that I've cooked in my Instant Pot and then put them in there. And when it's all nice and warm and mixed, I turn it off. And only when it stops boiling do I add my base, the actual flavorings, because I don't want to kill off the antioxidants in the spices that I've put in there. So I don't want to overheat. So I never really fully boil the food once it's made. Even when I heat it up later, I don't fully boil it because I don't want those antioxidants to go the way of the dodo. I want them in me.
Right? Right?
Yeah, I really
Well,
want them in me.
yeah, because it's
Yeah,
doing a body good. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
well,
Yeah.
what are you most proud of?
Hmm. I suppose my community, my 6D community. I'm very, very proud of them. They are amazing people. They are supportive. They are encouraging. They're loving. Some are plant curious, some are all the way in, and we're all together no matter where we're at. And I love that about all of them, that everyone is accepted, everyone is seen, everyone is heard, and they make that beautiful community possible. And I am just so proud that they have all come together to build this beautiful place, this safe place where we can all just share ideas without fear of criticism or judgment, and just say whatever. And even if we don't agree with it, fine. I don't agree with it. But you get the right to say it here in 6D. You have the right to be heard.
Right?
That's what I'm proud of. All of them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And
they're pretty cool.
you've done a fantastic job of setting up this community. It's pretty amazing. So,
Thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me.
well, what are three things someone can do to help start this journey?
Want it, learn, apply. But more pragmatically, let's say, start small, make small choices, small changes. And if you feel better, keep going, make some more. Small changes will bring big results. So start focusing on vegetables and fruits, especially berries, and focus on whole grains, not processed grains, whole grains, the
Yeah.
groats, not the flakes, the groats. Get to the groat. It's really good. And it'll build. And along the way, the most important thing is practice grace and kindness with yourself every day.
It's true.
And then you'll make it. You'll make it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sia, for sharing your amazing journey and your story with us. And I, I'm very grateful.
I am too. I am very grateful for this opportunity. I always enjoyed speaking with you, and it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you very much, Jeanne.